Let me set the scene. Mark and I have been together for 5 amazing years. He's my rock, my lobster. Any friends, fans out there? Just the best guy. We got engaged last fall in this super romantic hot air balloon ride over Napa. Cheesy. I know, but it was perfect. Wedding planning has been, well, wedding planning. Stressful, expensive, but also incredibly exciting. We found this gorgeous rustic barn venue. My dress is a dream, and everything was, I thought, falling into place. Chloe has been my best friend since kindergarten. We've been through everything together. Bad haircuts, first heartbreaks, college meltdowns, the works. So naturally, she was my first pick for MOH. She seemed thrilled, threw me a killer bachelorette party in Vegas. What happens in Vegas mostly stays in Vegas. Lol, but it was epic, and has generally been pretty on top of her MOH duties. Or so I believed. There were little things. Looking back, of course, they're huge, flashing red flags, but at the time, I brushed them off. Like when we were dress shopping, and I found the one, she made this weird comment, like, wow, it's bold. Are you sure Mark will like something so bridal? Bridal? It's a wedding dress, Chloe. What's it supposed to look like? A sack? I laughed it off, said Mark would love whatever I loved. Then there was the time she kept forgetting to send out the save the dates she'd offered to design. I ended up doing them myself, last minute, because she was just so swamped with work. Okay, fair enough. People get busy. The weirdest thing, though, was how she'd sometimes talk about Mark. Not overtly negative, but undermining. Like if I gushed about something sweet he did, she'd be like, oh, that's nice. Kevin, her on-again, off-again disaster of a boyfriend, would never. You're lucky, Mark's at least trying. Emphasis on trying. Like he was barely meeting minimum requirements. Again, I just thought she was projecting her own relationship woes. Oh, how naive I was. So fast forward to last Tuesday. I was at my final dress fitting. It was magical. My mom was crying. My sister was beaming, and I felt like a princess. I sent a quick giddy text to Mark saying, "You're going to lose your mind when you see me," with a bunch of heart emojis. He replied almost instantly, "Can't wait, beautiful." Counting down the seconds. My heart just melted. Everything was perfect. I got home, still buzzing, and found Mark sitting on the couch staring blankly at the TV. The air in the apartment felt thick, wrong. He usually bounds up to greet me, full of questions about my day. But he just sat there. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Everything okay, babe?" He looked up at me, and his face, guys. It was a mask of confusion, hurt, and something else I couldn't quite place. Maybe suspicion? My stomach dropped. "Mark, what's wrong? You're scaring me." He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit of his. "Sarah? Chloe called me earlier." My brows furrowed. "Chloe? Why would she call you? Is everything okay with her?" My mind immediately went to Kevin, or some other drama. "I don't know if she's okay," he said slowly, his eyes fixed on mine, "but she said some things that I really don't understand." My heart started to pound. "What things, Mark? What did she say?" I could hear the tremor in my own voice. This was not good. This was very not good. What on earth could Chloe have said to him to make him look like his whole world had just tilted on its axis? Mark took a deep breath, like he was steeling himself. "Okay, so I was just finishing up a work call, and my phone rang. It was Chloe. I figured, maybe a question about the wedding, MOH stuff, right?" I nodded, urging him on, a cold dread seeping into my bones. So I answer, "Hey Chloe, what's up?" And there's this pause, like a really long, awkward pause. Then she says really quietly, like she didn't want to be overheard, "Oh, Mark. Hi. I didn't mean to call you." And she sounded weird, flustered, like she was caught doing something she shouldn't. "Okay," I said, my mind racing. "A butt dial? But why would that make him look so devastated?" So I'm like, "Oh, no worries, butt dial?" Trying to make it light, you know? And she goes, "Yeah?" Something like that. Just thinking out loud, I guess. And then then she says this. He paused, looking directly into my eyes, and his voice dropped. She says, "Are you sure about this, Mark? About everything? Because once it's done, it's done. And some things you just can't take back. You deserve to be truly happy, you know?" I swear, the blood drained from my face. I could hear a roaring in my ears. She said, "What?" Yeah, Mark continued, his voice flat. And then, before I could even process it, before I could ask what the hell she meant, she whispered, I had to, for Sarah's sake, and yours. And then she hung up. I just stared at him, speechless. My mind was a whirlwind. For Sarah's sake? What did that mean? Was she implying I was having doubts? Or that he should be? The ambiguity was poisonous. It sounded like she was warning him off, like she knew some dark secret about me, or our relationship that would make him call everything off. Mark, I finally managed, my voice hoarse. That's insane. What did you say? What did you think? He looked down at his hands. Honestly, Sarah, my first thought was, is there something you're not telling me? Are you having second thoughts? Is Chloe trying to warn me in some twisted, roundabout way that you're about to break my heart? Tears welled up in my eyes. Mark, no, of course not. I love you more than anything. You know that. This wedding, it's everything I've ever wanted. I know, he said, but there was a flicker of doubt still there. A tiny crack in his usual unwavering confidence in us. But why would she say that, Sarah? Why would your best friend, your maid of honor, call me up days before our wedding and say something so loaded, so destructive? My mind was racing, trying to piece it together. Chloe, this wasn't a butt dial. This was something else. Something deliberate. But why? Jealousy? Some misguided attempt to protect one of us. From what? Our happiness? I don't know, Mark, I whispered, sinking onto the couch beside him. I honestly don't know. But I'm going to find out. My fear was quickly turning into a cold, hard anger. How dare she? How dare she try to plant these seeds of doubt in Mark's mind, to tarnish what was supposed to be the happiest time of our lives? She said it was an accident, Mark mused, almost to himself, that she didn't mean to call me. But the things she said, they didn't sound accidental. No, I agreed, my jaw tight. They didn't. I pulled out my phone, my fingers flying. I'm calling her, right now. Mark put a hand on my arm. Are you sure? Maybe you should cool off first. We both should. No, Mark. If I cool off, I might let it go. And I can't let this go. This is our wedding she's messing with. Our life. My voice was shaking with a mixture of rage and hurt. This was my best friend. How could she? I found Chloe's contact and hit dial. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail. Hey, it's Chloe. Leave a message. Beep. I hung up without leaving one. She's not answering, I said, my frustration mounting. Of course, she's not. Try again, Mark said, his own anger now starting to surface, replacing the initial shock and hurt. Or text her, tell her she needs to explain herself. Now. So I texted Chloe, Mark just told me about your accidental call. You need to call me back immediately and explain what the hell that was all about. We sat there in silence, the tension in the room so thick you could cut it with a knife. My phone screen remained dark. 5 minutes passed. 10. Each second felt like an eternity. The beautiful, happy bubble I'd been living in, just hours before, had been brutally, inexplicably popped. And the person holding the pin was, apparently, my best friend. What was her game? What could possibly motivate her to do something so destructive, so close to the wedding? Was this some kind of twisted loyalty, or something far more sinister? And would she even have the guts to face me? Another 10 agonizing minutes crawled by. Mark was pacing now, a restless energy thrumming off him. I was just staring at my phone, willing it to light up with Chloe's name. The silence was deafening, filled only with the frantic thumping of my own heart and the horrible, insidious questions Chloe's call had planted. Finally, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Chloe. My hands were shaking so much, I could barely read it. Mark leaned over my shoulder. The text said, OMG, Sarah, I am so sorry. It was a total accident. I was just talking to myself, venting about Kevin. You know how he is, and I must have pocket dialed Mark. I am mortified. I didn't mean for him to hear any of that. Please tell him I'm so sorry. It was just me being dramatic about my own stupid life. Nothing to do with you guys. I promise. I read it, then I read it again. Mark snorted beside me. Bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit, I agreed, a new wave of anger washing over me. Talking to herself? Venting about Kevin? What part of are you sure about this, Mark? And you deserve to be truly happy. Sounds like she's talking about her own deadbeat boyfriend. And for Sarah's sake? Mark added, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Was she trying to save you from Kevin too? It was such a flimsy, pathetic excuse. It was insulting. Did she really think we were that stupid? She's lying, Mark. She's blatantly lying. No kidding, he said grimly. So, what now? I took a deep breath. Now I call her again. And this time she will answer, and she will tell me the truth. I hit dial, it rang, and rang. Just as it was about to go to voicemail, she picked up. Sarah! Oh my God! I am so sorry. Her voice was high-pitched, overly bright, reeking of false contrition. I can't believe I did that. I was just having such a meltdown about Kevin. He stood me up again, and I was just rambling into my phone like a crazy person, and I must have accidentally called Mark. I am so embarrassed. Please tell me he's not mad. It was absolutely nothing about you guys. I swear on my life. I listened to her torrent of excuses, my grip tightening on my phone. Mark was watching me, his expression unreadable. Chloe, I said, my voice dangerously calm. Cut the crap. There was a pause on the other end. What do you mean? She stammered, the fake cheeriness faltering. I mean, stop lying to me. Mark told me exactly what you said, word for word, and it had nothing to do with Kevin, and it sure as hell didn't sound like you were talking to yourself. You asked Mark if he was sure about this, about everything. You told him he deserved to be happy. You said you were doing it for my sake, and his. So explain that, Chloe. Explain it right now. Silence. A long, crackling silence. I could hear her breathing, a little raggedly. I don't know what you're talking about, she finally whispered. Mark must have misheard. I was upset. I was rambling. Misheard? I practically yelled, losing my composure. He didn't mishear you saying his name, did he? He didn't mishear you implying our entire relationship was a mistake he was about to make? Mark put a calming hand on my shoulder. I took a shaky breath. Chloe, I tried again, forcing my voice down. We've been friends since we were 5. Don't do this. Don't lie to me. Just tell me why. Why would you say those things to him? Another pause. Then her voice changed. The fake brightness was gone, replaced by something colder, almost defiant. Maybe Mark should think twice, she said quietly. My blood ran cold. What did you just say? You heard me, she said, her voice gaining a strange, almost bitter strength. You're my best friend, Sarah. I just want you to be happy. And sometimes people rush into things, or they settle, or they're not being honest with themselves about what they really want. I was dumbfounded. Are you implying I'm settling, or that Mark is? Are you saying I'm not happy? My voice rose with disbelief. Chloe, I have never been happier in my entire life. Mark is the best thing that has ever happened to me. What on earth are you talking about? Am I? She countered, and there was a weird, almost pitying tone in her voice that made my skin crawl. Or are you just telling yourself that because it's what you're supposed to feel? Because the wedding is all planned and paid for, and it's easier to go through with it than to admit maybe, just maybe, it's not 100% right. This was unreal. This was my maid of honor, my best friend, actively trying to sabotage my wedding, my relationship, by suggesting I was the one with secret doubts. She was trying to poison Mark against me, using some twisted logic that she was helping me. Chloe, have you completely lost your mind? I gasped. Where is this coming from? If you had concerns, why didn't you talk to me? Why go behind my back to Mark, 3 weeks before the wedding, with these insane vague accusations? Because you wouldn't listen, she snapped, her voice suddenly sharp. You're so caught up in the perfect wedding fantasy, you can't see anything else. I've tried to hint, Sarah. I really have. The comments about the dress, about Mark, I was trying to get you to think. My mind flashed back to those little things. The bold dress comment, the at least he's trying. They weren't random. They were calculated. She'd been laying the groundwork for this all along. This wasn't an accident or a moment of madness. This was a plan. But why? What was her end game? To break us up? To what? Have me all to herself? Or was there something even darker, even more personal, driving this betrayal? The questions swirled in my head, each one more sickening than the last. A plan, Chloe? I practically spat the words out. You've been planning to undermine my happiness? My relationship with the man I love? What kind of sick friend are you? Mark, who had been listening silently on speakerphone, finally spoke, his voice like ice. Chloe, what exactly are you hoping to achieve here? because all you're achieving is showing us your true colors. There was a choked sound on the other end of the line. For a moment, I thought she might actually break down, confess, apologize for real, but then her voice came back, laced with a strange mix of desperation and defiance. True colors? My true colors are that I care about Sarah, more than anyone. And Mark, I've known you a long time too. You're a good guy, but are you the right guy for her? Is she truly deep down deliriously happy? Or is she just comfortable? Comfortable? I echoed, incredulous. Chloe, I'm marrying him. We're building a life together. This isn't about being comfortable. This is about love, partnership, a future. Something you clearly know nothing about, given your track record with men like Kevin. Ouch. Low blow, maybe, but I was past caring. She was attacking the very foundation of my happiness. That's not fair, Sarah, she cried, and now she did sound genuinely hurt. Kevin has nothing to do with this. This is about you. I see you, Sarah. I see the little flicker of something in your eyes sometimes. When you talk about the wedding, it's all about the plans, the details, the party. It's not always about Mark. My jaw dropped. This was gaslighting on an epic scale. She was twisting my normal pre-wedding excitement and stress into evidence that I wasn't truly in love. She was trying to make me doubt my own feelings. That is the most manipulative, insane thing I have ever heard, I said, my voice trembling with rage. You are projecting your own unhappiness, your own failed relationships, onto me. How dare you try to reframe my joy as some kind of settling? Am I, she whispered, or am I the only one brave enough to say what others might be thinking? No one is thinking that, Chloe. Mark interjected, his patience clearly gone. No one except you. What is your problem? Are you jealous? Is that it? You can't stand to see Sarah happy, so you try to tear it down. A beat of silence. Then, so quietly I almost missed it, Chloe said, maybe I am a little jealous. She gets everything. The perfect guy, the perfect wedding, the perfect life, while I'm stuck with nothing. Her voice cracked. But it's more than that. I worry about her. He's so different from her. Different how? I demanded. Because he's stable, kind, loves me unconditionally? Yeah, real terrible qualities, Chloe. No, not like that, she mumbled. I don't know, sometimes I just get a vibe. Like he's not fully present with you. Or like he's hiding something. Mark scoffed. Hiding something? Chloe, you're the one who called me out of the blue, with cryptic warnings. If anyone's hiding something, it's you. What's your real motive here? And then, it clicked. A memory surfaced, something I hadn't thought about in years. It was from college, maybe sophomore year. Chloe had a massive, unrequited crush on this guy, Jake, who was in our friend group. Jake was nice, but he was clearly interested in another girl. Chloe, instead of just accepting it, started subtly trying to sabotage Jake's budding romance. Little comments to Jake about how the other girl was flaky, or not serious. Little comments to the girl about how Jake was kind of a player. It didn't work. Jake and the girl dated for a while, but I remembered feeling uneasy about Chloe's behavior even then. I dismissed it as youthful insecurity, but now, could it be? Was this whole charade, this whole destructive campaign, not just about general jealousy, but about Mark? Had Chloe at some point developed feelings for my fiancé, and was this her twisted way of trying to break us up, hoping she could then swoop in? The thought was so repulsive, so deeply disturbing, it made me feel physically ill. Chloe, I said, my voice barely a whisper, this isn't about me, is it? This is about you. And it's about Mark. Another long silence. Longer this time. The implications of my question hung heavy in the air. Mark looked at me, his eyes wide, the same horrifying thought dawning on him. When Chloe finally spoke, her voice was small, defeated, almost childlike. I don't know what you mean. Oh, I think you do, I said, the pieces falling into place with sickening clarity. The way she sometimes looked at him when she thought no one was watching. The slightly too long hugs. The way she'd subtly put herself in his path at parties. I'd always brushed it off as her just being friendly, being Chloe, but now, all those little moments took on a sinister new meaning. You have feelings for Mark, don't you? I asked, the question feeling like a lead weight in my stomach. That's what this is all about. You're not trying to save me. You're trying to get him for yourself. The silence on the other end was absolute. It was a confession in itself. My best friend, the girl I'd shared all my secrets with, the girl I'd chosen to stand beside me on the most important day of my life, had betrayed me in the most profound and disgusting way imaginable, all because she wanted my fiancé. I felt a wave of nausea, followed by a surge of pure, unadulterated rage. This wasn't just a misguided attempt to protect me. This was a calculated, cruel act of sabotage, born out of jealousy and a completely delusional sense of entitlement. What were we supposed to do now? The wedding was weeks away. She was my maid of honor. Invitations were out, roles assigned. This wasn't just a friendship on the line. This was my entire wedding, my peace of mind, my trust in one of the closest people in my life, all shattered. The silence from Chloe's end stretched on, thick with unspoken confirmation. Mark reached out and took my hand, his grip firm, grounding. His face was a mixture of shock, disgust, and a dawning cold anger that mirrored my own. Chloe, Mark finally said, his voice dangerously low. Is Sarah right? Is that what this is? You have feelings for me? More silence. Then, a tiny broken sound, like a sob caught in her throat. I I always thought you two were mismatched, she finally whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. It wasn't a direct admission, but it was close enough. It was a deflection, a pathetic attempt to justify her actions, by painting us as incompatible, therefore making her own desires somehow more valid in her twisted mind. Mismatched? I repeated, my voice shaking, not with fear this time, but with sheer, unadulterated fury. We are not a pair of socks, Chloe. We are two people who love each other, who have built a life together, who are about to promise forever to each other. And you tried to destroy that because you decided we were mismatched? Or is it because you wanted what I have? It's not like that, she cried, her voice rising in desperation. I see how good he is, Mark. And I see you, Sarah, and I know you deserve the best. And I thought maybe you weren't seeing clearly. Maybe if he was free, you think he'd what? Fall into your arms. Mark interjected, his tone incredulous and utterly repulsed. Chloe, I love Sarah. I am marrying Sarah. There has never been, nor will there ever be, anything between you and me. The fact that you would even entertain such a fantasy, and then try to sabotage our wedding based on it, is frankly, it's pathetic and deeply disturbing. That seemed to break her. I heard a genuine sob this time, loud and racking. I'm sorry, she choked out. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I just, I got confused. I've been so lonely, and seeing you two so happy, it twisted something up inside me. Her apology, if you could even call it that, felt hollow. It was all about her loneliness, her confusion, her twisted feelings. There was no real acknowledgement of the profound hurt she'd inflicted, the trust she'd shattered, the chaos she'd thrown our lives into. Confused? I said, my voice flat. Chloe, you didn't get confused. You made a series of deliberate choices. You made snide comments for months. You forgot to do marriage duties. You called my fiancé with a fabricated concern. You lied to our faces. And when we called you on it, you tried to gaslight me into thinking I was the one with doubts. This isn't confusion. This is malice. This is betrayal of the highest order. Mark squeezed my hand. Sarah's right, Chloe. What you did is unforgivable. So what now? Chloe whispered, her voice barely audible. Do you still want me in the wedding? I actually laughed. A short, harsh, bitter sound. Are you serious? You genuinely think, after all this, after trying to break us up, after admitting in your own twisted way that you have feelings for my fiancé, that I would still want you standing next to me as I marry him, as my maid of honor? The absurdity of the question was staggering. It showed just how deep her delusion ran. No, Chloe, I said, my voice like steel. You are not going to be in my wedding. You are not going to be my maid of honor. And right now, I'm not even sure you're going to be my friend anymore. Another sob. Sarah, please, don't say that. We've known each other our whole lives. And in one afternoon, you've managed to destroy all of that. I told her, a profound sadness starting to mix with the anger. This was Chloe, my Chloe, the girl I'd shared everything with. And she was gone, replaced by this manipulative, jealous stranger. I need time, Chloe. A lot of time, and honestly, I don't know if our friendship can ever recover from this. Mark and I need to talk, I continued, about how we move forward from the mess you've created. I'll be in touch about your dress and any other arrangements. But for now, goodbye, Chloe. I hung up the phone, my hand trembling. The silence in the apartment was heavy. I looked at Mark, tears finally streaming down my face. He pulled me into a tight hug, and I just clung to him, sobbing out all the hurt, the anger, the betrayal. I can't believe her, I cried into his shoulder. My best friend. How could she? I don't know, baby, I don't know, he murmured, stroking my hair. Some people, they just can't handle seeing others happy, especially when they're miserable themselves. It's a sickness. We sat there for a long time, just holding each other. The immediate crisis of the phone call was over, but the fallout was just beginning. We had a wedding in 3 weeks. My maid of honor had just been fired under the most insane circumstances. We'd have to tell our families the rest of the bridal party. My sister, thankfully, was a bridesmaid, and I knew she could step up to be Mel H, but it was still a massive upheaval. And then there was the emotional toll. Could I really walk down the aisle, feeling joyful and carefree, with this dark cloud hanging over me? Chloe's words, her attempt to plant seeds of doubt, even though I knew they were baseless and born of her own issues, still echoed in my mind. Not doubts about Mark, or my love for him, that was unshakable, but doubts about friendship, about trust, about how someone you thought you knew so well could turn into a monster. We're going to be okay, Mark said, pulling back slightly to look me in the eyes. His own were clear, steady, full of love. The momentary confusion Chloe had caused in him was gone, replaced by a fierce protectiveness. She didn't win, Sarah. She didn't break us. If anything, she just showed us how strong we really are. He was right. Her venomous attack, meant to tear us apart, had in a twisted way only solidified our bond. We had faced something ugly together and come out the other side, united. The next few days were a blur of difficult conversations. Telling my mom and sister was heartbreaking. They were as shocked and disgusted as we were. My sister, bless her heart, immediately took over MOH duties, her fury at Chloe fueling her efficiency. We had to tell the other bridesmaids, who were equally appalled. The consensus was universal. Chloe was out of their lives too. The hardest part was the lingering sadness. A friendship of over 2 decades, obliterated. It was like a death. I mourned the Chloe I thought I knew, the friend I'd shared so many memories with. But the person she had revealed herself to be, I wanted nothing to do with her. We decided not to postpone the wedding. We wouldn't let her have that victory. We would reclaim our joy, our celebration. It would be different now, tinged with this bizarre, painful experience. But it would still be ours. As the wedding day approached, a strange sort of peace settled over me. The drama, though recent, felt like it belonged to another lifetime. Surrounded by genuine love and support from our true friends and family, Mark and I focused on what really mattered, each other, and the life we were about to build. The wedding day itself was perfect. Honestly, against all odds, it was beautiful. My sister was an amazing MOH. Walking down the aisle towards Mark, seeing his face light up, all the ugliness of the past few weeks just melted away. In that moment, there was only love, pure and simple. Chloe didn't come. We'd formally uninvited her, of course. I heard through the grapevine she'd left town for the weekend, probably too ashamed or too bitter to face anyone. Part of me felt a sliver of pity for how messed up she clearly was, but mostly I just felt relief that her toxicity was no longer a part of my life. Life has a funny way of showing you who's really in your corner. Chloe's accidental call, intended to destroy, ended up being a crucible. It burned away a fake friendship and revealed the true strength of my relationship with Mark and the genuine love of the people who truly mattered. It was a hell of a pre-wedding drama. Reddit, one I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but we survived. And honestly, we're stronger for it. TLDR, my MOH and best friend of 22 years accidentally called my fiancé 3 weeks before our wedding, spewing cryptic warnings to make him doubt our relationship. Turns out it was a calculated move fueled by her own misery, jealousy, and a secret, delusional crush on my now husband. Fired her as MOH, cut her out of my life, had an amazing wedding, and am now happily married to the best guy, no thanks to her. Friendship, RIP. So yeah, that's my saga. It's still wild to me that this actually happened. Anyone else ever deal with a friend actively trying to sabotage their happiness like this? How do you even begin to process that level of betrayal from someone you trusted for so long?